Welcome. Let's discuss how we can create a piecewise function when a graph is given. Let's start by analyzing the graph on the left. The first thing that I notice is that this graph can be broken down into three small pieces. The piece or the section on the left, which we have it here, the section in the middle, which we can have it here, and the section in the right, which we have here. Let me give it a different color to each of those sections because we're going to analyze them separately. Now, the piecewise function that we are going to define, it is going to be the collection of the pink section, the orange section, and the green section. So let's start by analyzing the section in pink, which is what we have here. Notice that this is a line. So we know that the function that we're going to define, it is going to be of the form of y equals mx plus b. So what we need to find out, it is the value of the slope and the value of the y-intercept, because once we have that, we will be able to define this line. Well, let's start by looking at the slope of this line. So to figure out the slope, let me choose one point in this line. And one thing that I notice, that if I go 1 unit up and 1 unit to the left, I'm going to end up at a different point in this line. And remembering that the slope is rise over run, then we can claim that the slope has a value of 1 over -1, which is just -1. So to properly define this line, we need the value of the y-intercept. But notice that this function doesn't intersect the y-intercept at all. So where do we find the y-intercept? Well, we already know the slope, which is the movement along the line. So let's repeat this movement until we intersect the y-axis. So from the same point, let me move 1 unit to the right and 1 down. I'm at this location. I haven't intercepted the y-intercept. Let me do that one more time. 1 unit to the right and 1 down. Notice that we're able to identify the y-intercept now. The y-intercept, it's at the value of -5. So now we have all the information that is needed to define this line. This line has a slope of -1 and also has a y-intercept at -5. Let's plug the value of n as -1 in M, and let's plug in the b value of -5 at b. Well, let's simplify that. We can just rewrite this as -5 minus 5. Now this is going to be the equation that we are going to place in our piecewise function under the first section. So the only thing that is left is to define the domain of this line. But notice that the values of x's that the pink section has is those x's that are less than -2. But in addition, notice that at -2, we have an open circle. So there is no need for us to put an equals underneath the inequality. So we are done defining the first section in our piecewise function. And now let's define the section in orange. Notice that the section in orange is also a line. So it must have the form of y equals mx plus b. So we're going to approach it the same way. Let's try to define the value of the slope of this line and the value of the y-intercept. Well, let's look at movement. So now let's choose one point in this line and notice that if I go 1 unit up and 1 unit to the right, I am going to be intersecting another point in this line. So we can say that the rise is the value of 1 and the run, it is of a value of 1. Therefore, our slope is 1 over 1, which is just 1. But in order that the y-intercept, we can also find it in the graph. It is of a value of 1 as well. So if we plug in the value of m being equivalent to 1 and b also equivalent to 1, then we're going to get the equation of y equals 1x plus 1, which is equivalent to just x plus 1. So this is going to be our function for the second line, x plus 1. And now let's define the x values that the section is using. It is using the x values from -2 all the way up to +1. But notice that at the value of -2, we have a closed circle, so we need to put a equal sign underneath the inequality. At +1, we have an open circle, so there is no need to put an equal sign underneath the inequality. So we are done with the second section. Now let's analyze the third section. Now the section in green, notice that it's a horizontal line. And horizontal lines, our equations are just equal to a constant value, which in this case, notice that regardless of which point I choose in this horizontal line, the y value, it is always equivalent to 1. So that is going to be the equation for this horizontal line, y equals 1. Well, let's put that down in our piecewise function. So now let's find the domain of this function. Notice that this green section is only using values of x's that are greater than 1. In addition, notice that a positive one, or circle, is filled. So we need to put an equal sign underneath the inequality. Now we have defined a piecewise function for the graph on the left.
Hello. If you would like to continue learning about mathematics, you can check out the videos on the left.